in the last couple of weeks and couple of months, there's been a huge movement developing against the water charges. This is an agenda that's part of the austerity attack. Basically, in the last 6 years in Ireland, we've seen the biggest bank bailout per head of population and an absolute slashing of living standards, a huge slashing of public sector wages, jobs, and a corresponding assault by the private sector as well on wages and conditions. And this is the beginning. This is people saying no, standing up to not just the unjust water charges disguised as an environmental measure, but really about implementing €1,000 or more on working class families with a view to commercialising water and privatising water, against this unjust charge and against the austerity agenda in general. So over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a demonstration on the 11th of October that was called not really by any group that has a big space in Irish society, but it was called by a coalition of groups and one or two trade unions. And it was seized upon by working class people who for the past couple of weeks have been blockading Irish Water, this new company that's about implementing the water charges that have been coming into working class estates and actually using the state and Gardaí, the cops in Ireland, to put in water meters. And there's been an uprising of people in small working class estates that have completely prevented any water meters going in some parts of Dublin, some parts of the country. And these people seized the 11th of October and turned it into a massive display of opposition to austerity. There was 150,000 people marching, full of working class women, workers, young people, loads and loads of children that came with their homemade banners, maybe even made in schools. And certainly at home with their mums and dads against the water charges and against this rotten, hated government. There's also huge political instability and a real political expression of the anger and opposition, particularly this year through the election of Paul Murphy of the Anti-Austerity Alliance, who's also a Socialist Party activist and my colleague. He won this by-election on the basis that he was the anti-water charges candidate, because he's the candidate advocating and fighting for mass non-payment. That's the way we're going to defeat this charge, alongside these massive displays of opposition, both locally and centrally, that have already shaken this government to the core.